Hey y'all, can you hear me? Wait a minute, can you hear me? Can you
Gotcha.
hear me? All right.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
When I mute and blind out, when I mute and yeah.
Welcome to the 90 Degree Show, the
Okay.
sports
My
center for
bad.
college marching bands, where we recap the ultimate battles from this weekend. And now, here's our host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
That was exciting. We already kicking off with some technical stuff. All right. Hold it, y'all. All right. All right, we got the people clapping. All right, Bridget, go ahead. All right, I think we straight, y'all. Welcome. All right, Bridget, we on. I think everybody on. All Bridget. Okay, so Bridget got her phone on, so everybody got the up and down view this time with the cameras. Okay, so that's what's up. I'm just adjusting here. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm your host, Joe Beard. Let me make sure. Okay, that angle is okay. That one's okay. That one's on time. And then that one's mine. Oh, all right. All right. Welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm your host, Joe Beard. Happy to be of service for you today. Getting everything all situated. I appreciate Bridget and Ernest today. They are both busy today, but they always fighting for the craft. So we give y'all a quick
That's
round of
right.
applause here. Bridget and Ernest. Thank you guys again. We want to say welcome if you are on our blog, the internet, the YouTube. I'm starting to lose track. Twitch. We on Twitch. We on Periscope. All of those things, wherever you are, welcome. You'll see the donate button on the marchingpodcast.com. If you believe in the show, and thank you, you can make a donation there. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. A lot to talk about today, so I want to get in there and start the conversation with you guys. And of course, we got our first. So again, go over the format. We got our shout outs and intros to begin with. Second session, we'll maybe talk a little bit about who we seen, and then our third segment, we get into the conversation that we have. And today, I had prayers as the title of the show, just because, that's what we got to do. Everybody got to be praying now, and stuff is off the hook. People's off the hook. So I was just trying to, I said this year we was gonna be positive. So I'm just saying, I'm trying to throw out some prayers, any help,
Absolutely.
whatever it is. Definitely a positive conversation. But I did want to get into some of the news that is out there. All right. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and say hello and let our esteemed panelists get situated here. I think I'm all right here. So, first, the one and only Mrs. Bridget Bell. How are you doing in this podcast, ma'am?
We're gonna make that a miss. Miss Bridget Bell. That's what we're gonna do. And
We're gonna
I
make
am
that
doing
Dr. Bell.
that. Yeah, or you can say yeah,
Oh
the
yeah. Oh,
future
I'm
Dr.
tripping.
Bell, the
I'm
future
tripping.
Dr. Bree. You said
I didn't even.
she said Mrs. I'm like, who that? I don't know
Man,
who she is.
I forgot.
Last time I checked, she passed.
Yeah,
She
my bad.
passed like
I'm
3, 4
sorry.
years ago.
All right, hold up, my bad.
Um,
My bad.
but you good. You good. Hey everybody. Let me apologize now. You're gonna see me kind of go in and out a little bit. We have a little bit, y'all keep our family in prayers. We got a little bit of emergency happening. I'm actually few seconds from being en route to Yonkers, New York. So y'all be in prayer for us. We got some things happening. But I'm gonna try to stay in here with us as long as we can, as long as I can today. But sometimes unexpected things happen. It's all good, but I'm here for it. I'm here for the craft. I kind of need this moment right here. So I'm here with y'all. But if you see my picture kind of go in and go mute, and I just mean I'm old. So yeah, but it's good to see everybody. Hope everybody had a good week.
Yeah, appreciate that. Also, yeah, appreciate the whole Mrs. part. I keep forgetting that's the married thing. I'm a little slow sometimes. I always think Mrs. That's like senora, like your elder or respect.
Don't do that to me.
Estates,
You
ustedes.
better call me Senorita. Senorita. Come on now. Don't be trying to make me old. Don't do that to me, Joe.
It's
Don't
all
be trying
right.
to make me old.
It's a respect thing. It's like Christy when I be like Reverend Doctor. It don't mean it's not. It's just a respect. I have too much respect for y'all. That's all it is. Uh,
Wow.
Ernest, what's up, man? How you doing in this
What's
podcast,
going
sir?
on? What's going on, man? I just want to definitely send prayers to Bridget and her family, man. Whatever they're going through, I'm praying that God sees them through it and that they come out the other side of this thing stronger. There's a lot going on in the band world, man. First of all, I want to shout out my bros of Phi Mu Alpha Symphonia. It's our Founders Day. So shout out to the bros, man, all the symphonians around the world, the manly musicians or musicianly men around the world. Um, I want to give a shout out to my man Adrian Wright. He's the band director at Dillon High
Yeah,
School.
I like him, man. I like
Yeah,
Adrian. Shout out to him. Yeah.
yeah. Just had a successful event last night at the Dillon Battle of the Bands. Had well over 20 high school bands there, man, competing, and two college bands, South Carolina State University and Benedict College, brawled it out, man, for the best
Nice.
band in South Carolina.
Nice.
So shout out to Kool Aid, man. His line name is Kool Aid for KK Side. So my LB, shout out to Kool Aid, man.
Nice.
He's a listener, man. He listens every week, bro.
Yeah,
So
he's a good
I know,
dude.
yeah, I know you listen to Kool Aid. Shout out, my man. Shout out.
Yeah, we
But
definitely gonna be
yeah,
chopping it up with him. Man, if this was my full time job, boy, I'd be on it, boy. You know. But yeah, we definitely gonna be chopping it up with him. It's in the works. So, but yeah, shout out to him.
yeah,
He's a good dude, man.
yeah, man, yeah. And just gonna shout out to all the college band directors. This week has been crazy, man. So I'm praying for everybody, man. It's like I don't want to hear no more bad
I
news.
know, right?
Jesus, I don't think we can take it. But I'm praying for everybody, bro.
Don't
Hopefully
nobody
everybody's all
bring me no bad news.
right. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right.
Right,
Like
right.
Mr. Johnson used to say, it's gonna be all right.
Well, that's what's up, Ernest, man. And so, Bridget, I asked you get your shout outs to see if everything's cool, as we move in time along for you and everything. What was going on with you this week? Any intros, shout outs before we get started?
Everything is all good. Shout out to my babies at Edgewood Middle School. Let me get a shout out to my band babies who've been working hard doing their thing. I appreciate all these young musicians out in the game. Shout out to all the band directors out there. Just like Ernest said, we're praying and we want band directors to, stay strong out there. But yeah, I'm gonna put you guys on. I'm not gonna hang up. I'm gonna put you on mute. I'm just gonna transition to a new spot, hop in the car. So just give me a second, and I'll come back after the commercial break.
Word, word. Yeah, we'll give you a little
Whenever
time.
you take the commercial break.
I,
Yeah, yeah. Just give me a little time.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna do my little shout outs and then I'll do a commercial break. Give Bridget a little extra time there. So for my shout outs, I first want to give a shout out, a melancholy shout out to the one and only Garrett Edgerson. All right.
Mm.
Garrett, his mother passed this week. So I
Uh,
want to say a shout out to Garrett. Garrett is a really good dude. I'm waiting to meet him in person, just like I'm waiting to meet the rest of y'all in person. But I met Garrett watching videos. It was one of the year we started, and I think he had it was I think something in my heart with Southern and Michelle.
hmm
And I saw that video and I was like, man, that was really good. Reached out to him and I was like, man, you talented. Let's do a chopping it up. Interviewed him because he was doing a lot of Southern videos. And
Yeah.
we did chopping it up with him. And I was like, man, I really believe in you. You know what I'm saying? You seem like a really good dude. And so I let him use the Marching Podcast domain space. And he could
hmm
type in, you could type in theedge1.com. Because, he the Edge One. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you could type in theedge1.com and it would hit my domain. And next thing I know, I remember he told me he was a computer science major. So he started working hard, doing well, and next thing you know, I would look like after day a day, and his sight was like getting better than mine. I was like, dang, like I was like, what is it? I was like, dang, he own it, like you know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
lo and behold, I mean, long story short, now we did the interview, and now Garrett's pretty much famous now, and he don't need my domain, so he's now the edge1pro.com. So you guys check out the edge1pro.com. But he's been a good dude. He's been on the Rogers Brothers. He's been everywhere. He likes the Cubs. But other than that, I was like,
That's all right. That's
yeah.
all
I
right.
mean, for
We
me,
forgive that. Yeah.
yeah. For me, for your St. Louis, I'm like, that's all good. But shout out to you, Garrett, man. I give you a round of applause. I don't have like anything sad or but I'm just letting you know, you in my prayers. Definitely support. That's not tough what you going, or it's tough what you going through. But
Yeah.
hey, man, anything to do, man. I'm here for you. Pray you, love you, man. And shout out to you. All right. Next, I had one to give, like you said, a shout out. We'll talk about some of the band directors, but the shooting in Dallas. Okay, so real
Yeah.
quick, I'll just say I wasn't necessarily gonna bring it up, Ernest, but I saw this morning that the young man that testified was
Yes.
found, yeah, was found dead today. So,
What a coincidence, right?
man, like that whole
Yeah.
thing is like a trip to me.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah.
every time I see the story, I sent you guys because everybody now does their own little selfie take, like their own little
Hmm.
editorial. And I sent you that dude. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He was mad
Yeah.
at the Cowboys. This dude. so
Yeah. That was
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, it was, man. So that was what I thought about. What's up, Bridget? I see you back. But yeah, we about to go to commercial break now. But again, prayers for that young man's family. Oh man,
Yes.
I'm scared. I'm scared to say something before somebody start knocking on my door out here. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
Cause
You
we
know what I'm
live,
saying?
right?
Hey, it ain't no coincidences. I mean, that's too close, bro. I
Man,
mean, how in the heck did that happen?
you know what I'm saying? And it's too close, and the timing is, it's crazy. But
Yeah. I'm waiting on more details
Yeah,
on that.
and it looked like I think they said that the key witness in the trial actually was shot and killed. I think yesterday as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why
That's what.
that was one of the things I was saying. Hey, today is all about the prayers, Bridget.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I saw that and I was just
Wow.
like, wow, like that just because I was already mad. I was mad about the whole thing, you know what I'm saying? But uh,
Mhm.
but I guess that was the first time I have to say that was the first time I've heard that someone like actually consoled someone, like they got from
Yeah.
behind the bench and hugged. So hey man, if I'm ever at the
Yeah.
gates, come hug me too. I
You
guess.
know what I mean? If I'm at that gate, I need hugs from the bailiff, the judge, the
Right,
both lawyers. I need some love, baby. Give
right.
me some love.
Help us out. Help me out. Cause I'm light skinned. You know what I'm saying?
I'm too pretty. I'm too
Right.
pretty to go.
I'm scared. I was scared
I
straight
can't
years
go.
ago. Yeah, brother. so uh, so yeah. So yeah, let's go to commercial break real quick. And then we'll kind of get into, I guess, who we saw. I saw a little bit of the Grambling State Jackson State game because people were talking about. Shout out to Kevin Peete. He put something and it totally trolled me out, and so I had end up clicking on it, end up watching the whole thing. So shout out to him. I ended up seeing the fifth quarter with Grambling and Jackson. So I guess I could touch on that. And Ernest, you could talk a little bit about what you heard back that way, and then we'll
Yeah.
get into our discussion. We'll talk, guys, about Stillman, Texas Southern, and Virginia State, and I'm sure it'll be all like one discussion in that
Mhm.
last segment. So definitely in the chat room. Shout out to people in the chat room. We'll be, saying your comments on the air. You guys can mute your microphones. It's a 90-degree show. Appreciate everything, and we'll be back after commercial break.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
The source for fair and factual information on your favorite college bands, blockusup.com. Well-written articles, in-depth band performance analysis, helpful resources for band directors, fun band-related topics, and exclusive interviews with some of today's brightest and most talented leaders of college marching bands. Visit us at blockusup.com, the meeting place for band fans and band directors.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, you can unmute your microphone. We're coming back from the commercial break. Again, thanks for all the love and support. Shout out to the chat room. Shout out to everyone else checking out the show. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it real quick. I saw Jackson State and Grambling this past weekend, mostly for Kelly Charles. Shout out to her. I talked about her. She's working in Kansas City now. Great Grambling State alum. And shout out to my boy DeAnthony Smotherman, the star of our track team in high school. Ended up going to Grambling. His mother went to the great Lincoln University. Well, I'm sorry, both his parents. I think that's where they met. Went at Lincoln University there in Missouri. You know what I'm saying? We don't know too much about HBCUs in Missouri, but we got Lincoln though. So shout out to Lincoln. Shout out to my boy DeAnthony. It's always good to think about him and stuff. But yeah, they competed this weekend against Grambling, and I don't have that much to say, but Grambling is definitely a different band. They are under a new direction. What is
Yeah.
I don't know the I was about to say Mrs. again, but see, I
Robot,
don't know.
Dr. Robot,
Doc,
Dr. Robot.
Dr. Robach, yes. Shout out to
Yeah,
Eddie. He just did an interview with her. So you guys go meet me on the 50. He just did the director's corner with her to check out information about her. But she's definitely taking the band in a new direction. So they sound different. I was really hoping, though, that Grambling would stop dancing while their dancers would
that's what they
dance.
do.
But, you know,
But
Yeah.
you know that's their signature thing though. That's who they are. That's their mark. So, it almost goes back to that. I know Southern people gonna be on me, but it's almost like the Southern thing. We want Southern to stop being Southern. Grambling, that's what they do. So for them to stop doing that will take their branding. That's their brand. We have it look like a three ring circus, but that's their branding. So that's what they do. We can't
Hmm.
change the total culture of that band program. But Dr. Roebuck is doing the thing. Look, people were trying to discredit her last year. I'm gonna speak up for my female band directors. Last year, I don't know if you remember. Do you guys remember me talking about that last year? And I was like, I think it's a female at the helm, and da da da. And it was like, no, it's the guy. And I was like, no, it's Dr. Roebuck. I knew who it was. And then when they gave her the job, oh, we don't know. And they are a different band. Grambling sounds good. That's the best I've heard.
Yeah.
Grambling. Like, I'm gonna put a period
I can
behind that.
agree.
Grambling really sounds good. So, really shout out to Dr. Roebuck. She's doing an amazing thing. I'm so proud of the female band directors who are out here. Thank you bringing that to the craft. It's hard. It's hard out here when you're in a male dominated field, and so I'm
Yeah.
super excited for what I'm seeing from Grambling.
I totally agree.
Absolutely.
What did you think about Grambling? Have you checked out Grambling, Ernest?
Yeah. You know what? To piggyback a little bit of what Bridget said, female band directors, man, very rare in the profession. But what's even more rare is female arrangers. So I'm still looking and listening for a band that's going to feature a female arranger.
That
Somebody
ain't me.
I want to see a
That ain't
pink
me.
pen laid down.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
want to see
But
somebody handle business in that regard. But she is doing a great job at Grambling. But I don't want to take anything away from that. They are doing an awesome job. Do you know they still have the rolling bass drum?
I didn't see it.
yep,
I
I didn't
didn't see
see
yeah,
it.
it.
they do.
Okay.
I
Okay.
thought they did.
I'm sure
Last
they
season they
do.
did. Last season they did for sure.
It,
Okay.
it was I was turned off. Well, okay. Let me go. So I have to watch it because usually it sticks out, but it didn't stick out,
Right.
and I think that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
partly because I was already like, oh, I heard Grambling's good, and I caught some of the interviews, so I was like, oh, I'm excited to see a change. So maybe just in my mind I didn't see it, so it could have been out there. But
Mm.
Bridget, go back to what you said. That's their tradition. So
Right.
when is it when someone can say, "Hey man, that stop, that's whack." I don't care how long you've been doing it. Can people
I
say
think
that?
it's I think it's a difference between, so I think there's tradition, I think there's branding, how they've branded their
Yeah.
program, and they're not going to be able to go too far off of that mark. That rolling bass drum is a major part of their mark, and they are known as the dancing band. They've been known, everybody knows them, the whole society, not just the HBCU world. When somebody needs tampon or whoever else needs a commercial and they need a band dancing, they look at Grambling first. Honestly, they do. They look at Grambling first because that's
Yeah.
what they do. That's a part of their branding. And so, one thing I can actually appreciate a band who's branded themselves, who has some type of sort of distinction. When you don't have a mark, for instance, for me, Cookman is not memorable because there is nothing that marks them. Like they look the same, but there are some bands who are very distinct. J5 makes Jackson State very, very distinct. Southern
Yeah.
in their drilling, very distinct. They're one drum major. They really are the catalyst for that. There's so many things. FAMU, the rattling drives me crazy, but they're very distinct, and that slow one. But that makes that's their branding. That's who they are. So we can't ask Grambling to change in essence who we are. We can ask them to be better at it, and we've been asking that for years, and now we're seeing it. But but yeah, the rolling bass drum thing. I don't know. Old boy might not have made the field this week. I don't know. They on scholarship just to push a bass drum, but hey, y'all go ahead with that. You enjoy it. You enjoy it.
Well, that's I mean I understand. I get that. I guess so. I guess we just will continue to kind of just pick fun at who we can and who we want here and there. Cause I'm sorry, it's just too much for
Yeah.
me. You know what I'm
When I
saying?
think about, I think about the rolling bass drum. I think about the white shoes. I think about the
Oh, the white
dancers
shoes.
doing the feature. Yeah. And yeah, just like Bridget said, it is about branding because that's what I think about when I think of them, and that's unique to them. So that's powerful in itself. They got their own image. They've cut their own slice of the pie, so to speak. And a lot of bands don't have that. A lot of our lesser bands, the bands on the lower tier, are copies of these, or the big four. Really, it's like really four big bands that everybody else kind of follows or kind of is modeled after,
Right.
because their styles are so distinct. Everybody know the rock and the sway with Jackson State. The DMs, the Tiger Run On, the FAMU, the Rattler, it's like the slow one, the DMs. The crazy amount of DMs. They did that. Now everybody got at least five DMs. But
Right.
so it's certain things certain bands do that have branded their program, and Grambling is in that category. You can't take that away from them.
Yeah. I guess for me it'll be always somewhat picky because it's like if it's good or not. Like
Hmm.
it's like oh man, so and so gonna be doing this. Well, that's something. But when I see that, it's like okay, but that. Stop it. Like that's different.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
but,
But
but you know what? No. Yeah, yeah, but sometimes those traditional things um, are not done effectively. Just like when FAMU was doing their comeback, all the things that make them FAMU, everybody was side eyeing, like, man, I don't like this part of this. I don't like this. I don't like that, because it wasn't done to the level which it should be. Just like there were some years where Jackson State weren't doing the Tiger Run On like it was done in the past, and it didn't look right, and they had gotten bigger, and they're trying to do it in different ways by doing two lines of the. It was just off, they weren't Jackson State, but it was still a Tiger Run On. So yeah, sometimes those traditions from year to year get sloppy and not as effective, but it's still one of those things that make them them.
that's true. That's true. It's just it's whack. But I love you, Grambling. So this, so
That's because you're from. That's because you're from Jackson State,
no,
Joe.
no,
That's the
bro,
only reason you're
but
saying that.
Bridget,
You're biased.
but Bridget,
You're being biased.
but nah, Bridget, you said it. You was like they need to like stop. Like it's my eyes is going all over the place. That's the only thing. I mean, I like
Yeah.
them, and on the other side of the
Yeah.
coin, this is what I was gonna say. Now that might be the wackiest part of their show in the world, but let me tell you something. When they start that G, yeah, hey man, that might that is super dope. Let me give a round of applause to the little GS channel
We
that they
we get
have.
mad house for that. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm telling you, people from back in the '40s start standing up when that come up. I don't even know if they understand what the people saying, but man, well, I be hyped when they do that.
You know, that's that's one aspect of band that people don't appreciate. When you have a crowd that's in it, like
Man,
that makes a
Yeah,
huge
right,
difference.
it
Like when
does.
I was watching the band brawl this year, last this weekend, the band brawl, and let me tell you, Norfolk crowd was all in that thing. Like I got excited because their crowd was excited. Like when you have a crowd that understands the band culture and who gets excited and supports what your band is doing. Like I never forget the first time I went to a Morris Brown game, and before the band came around the corner, the crowd was already chanting, "We are the best band in the land." Oh, oh,
right.
oh. And the band hadn't even come out the band room yet. They chanted them all the way until they came around. Boy, I was like, that is so
Wow.
tight. Like,
Right.
that is the best thing ever. So when you have a crowd, like Grambling's crowd who's chanting that GS, I think
Yeah.
Jackson State crowd does that. Is it them or something that do that? Da-dum, ba-dum,
Yeah, that's us.
Jay.
The rock the
Yeah.
Yeah,
house. Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
rock the house boy gets a lot of house because the crowd is all into it. So I gotta give a shout out to the crowd, to the regular
Right.
people in the stands
Yeah.
who get into the band.
Yeah.
Morgan got the We Are the Bears. When we play We Are the Bears, that crowd goes crazy. And I think all schools should have signature things like that. So yeah, that's amazing. Go on mute for a
Yeah.
second, guys.
That's cool. So yeah,
Shout
shout
out to
out.
Joe Six Pack and Susie Martini and all the crowds out there holding it down in the stands.
Right, right, right. Shout out to the people in the chat room, and shout out to Be Fresh. I said word. I think I said word. That's kind of my word. I be saying word, and he said he hadn't heard that in so long. So yeah, shout out to you, Be Fresh. Yeah, people done told me to some of my words. I done stopped saying crunk, but I might bring that back because that's my word too. But every time I say it, people look at me like, what'd you just say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They, yeah.
So I gotta start
What is
saying
it
lit.
now?
Lit is it
Fire,
lit?
lit? Yeah, lit, fire.
Cause I see fire emojis, but I can't say fire emojis. Like that's fire emoji. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that. So yeah, so I guess it's lit. Uh,
And it is not fire, it's fire. It's fire.
fire. You right. You right. Shout out to Ernest for the correct pronunciation. Nothing to be proud about. That's fire. You right. That's fire. Okay. You right. Uh, so I guess in and all, Grambling, and shout out to Kevin Poteet. He felt like that they won the zero quarter, and I watched that. It was a different kind of feel with Grambling throwing back at Jackson State. They definitely had a lot of confidence, so I appreciated them. Other than their, the stuff that I don't care about their tradition, their show was pretty good, and they were
Oh yeah.
pretty accurate on the field. Like they were pretty precise on the field. So
Yeah.
I give it to Grambling. They look good. They're not. Something's gonna happen. I was just gonna say to you guys. I think it's their arrangers, or the
Mm,
arranging. I think maybe some they can update some of the songs that have been written. Because
hmm
I feel that. I think when I asked you guys, like, how come do I hear some bands and I hear some instruments are out there by themselves or it's not full? Like, I
Yep.
definitely hear that with Grambling. So I guess it'll
Yeah.
be some time to change that around.
Yep. Well,
Yeah,
shoot, maybe they need.
I heard a few changes. I heard a few changes in their arrangements in that zero chord. I didn't watch all of it, but their arranging style has changed somewhat. I don't know who's doing their arrangements now, but I definitely heard some differences when I was listening to that zero quarter. I don't know if I would give them the zero quarter though. I don't know what Poti heard. We can't let our excitement like negate, the
Yeah.
facts there because Jackson State is solid. That Jackson
Jackson
State's just a
State
good band. They're
is a
solid.
brick wall this year. Yeah,
I'm
they're a
trying to
wall
tell you, they solid. So Grambling, we understand, have made great improvements. I think they did a great job, but I can't give them the 0 quarter because Jackson State was bringing it. They was bringing that heat, and they
You know,
sound good.
sometimes people like when a band makes a big improvement, everybody just rush and gives them the win over everybody. You know, like just because they've improved, but you know
Exactly.
they're just getting on level. You know, Jackson State is like, get on my level. You on level now. Now
Right.
let's see what's up. You know, Jackson State is solid this year, man. I mean, they are in the runnings, in my opinion, as being the program of the year. I mean, so far so strong, bro. They've been strong every week.
Yeah,
And where's Cookman? I mean, ain't nobody talking about the Wildcats this year.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I haven't even seen
The
any clips.
Wildcats quiet. I know they real quiet, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
I
The
have to
usual quiet.
Yeah, I have to say that at this point in my life now, Jackson State is, it's one of the greatest programs in the galaxy.
Oh
And
Lord, here you go.
I'm happy that, I got kicked out of Hampton so I could be there. Um and the cool thing is that, most of the time I was so worried about not being like my dad or not being like my family. And shout out to my family in Mississippi. I love you, love the Beard family, love the Beard clan. But I was like, it's Mississippi, man. Like I just can't blah 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 Mississippi. I just talk so much about Mississippi, and going down there had a time of my life, and not still paying off. So shout out to all the ignorant folks be hating on Mississippi. Because we love Mississippi. Shout out to Mississippi, y'all. All right. And yeah, shout out to Be Fresh. I was gonna say, man, the drills have been really good. Just
Mm.
really pleased with the program. All I want now is like about 80 trumpets. About 80 to 100. If we get that, it's over. It's over.
Man, y'all don't need any more trumpets,
Nah,
bro.
man, just
That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense.
hold
80
up, Bridget.
trumpets don't even make sense. Hush.
Nah, man, we
No.
need 80 because we need to play more marches. We done got a little bit of round of
Uh,
applause for the marches because we ain't played too many marches this year, but we want a round of applause. And I'm telling you, we'll balance it out. All right, y'all. Great discussion. All right. Uh, Anything else? But no, but Grambling is definitely. You guys check out her interview. But definitely
yeah.
Grambling. I definitely like what I saw. And I'm telling you, boy, when y'all came out with that GL, I got hyped. I started GL. You know what I'm saying? I love that, man. I'm telling you, that's the greatest. All right. Anything?
Did you?
Yeah, Ernest. Or Bridget, what you about to say?
No, I was just gonna say. I don't know if anybody had a chance to check out the band brawl. I watched the actual battle band, and, and
Oh man, you
and
gotta.
when I tell
Oh, there
you,
you are.
when we talk about, I hate ranking bands, but when we talk about top notch bands, the ones in the MEAC, boy, I can't even call a winner. It was so tight. It was so
Bridget,
tight.
you breaking
Yeah,
up.
Bridget, you in an area. I think you like in an area or something.
Both bands did an outstanding job. Now, it's just, I'll come back through one thing until I get a better signal. I'll come back.
All right. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right, Ernest. I know that you were gonna talk about the
Yeah.
word on the street out there in the Carolinas.
Yeah, man. And before I talk about the meetup of South Carolina State and Benedict this weekend, for the Battle of the Carolinas, so to speak, at Dillon's Battle of the Bands, let me say this. This is some housekeeping issues with amongst HBCU bands. If you are recording an event, if you're going live, recording an event, whatever, and it's a stand battle, make sure that you're in between both bands. You know, don't get up underneath one band, record them, and then record the other band from all the
Far
way across
away.
the field. Yeah, that's a bias uh, take on it. You know, it's not fair to both bands really, because you hear all the mistakes from the band that you up close on, and then you don't feel the same power and effect from the band that's way across the way. So just to keep it fair and make it a good recording, get in the middle of the field, so you can catch both bands equally, and then it'll come across a little better. Also, if you are recording a field show, don't get on the sideline and record the field show.
Right.
You know, record it from up in the stands. I don't even care. I don't care if it's from the back. It's still better than being on the sideline because, like I said, once again, you get a warped perception of what really occurred. You hear individuals instead of the total section sound. It's just not a good representation of the performance. And a lot of the clips that came out from both bands this weekend so far have been, people's lives and people's individual recordings.
Yeah.
And a lot of the professional stuff hasn't been downloaded yet. I'm still waiting for 8 to 5. Shout out to 8 to 5.
Yeah, he
March
in there.
8 to 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they in there. South Carolina State.
Yep.
South Carolina
Yep. Yep.
State.
Shout out to my boy. So I'm waiting on TJ stuff as well. So as soon as they can post some stuff up, man, I can have a better take on what occurred between both bands and to be fair about it. But just going from people's lives and you can't get a good representation of what happened. Just from what I heard though, I will say that, since one recording I saw was right up under South Carolina State, and they sound great up close, okay? And you can hear the power, man. They got some players. You can tell everybody is playing. They have a really good sound. They're smaller, of course, but they ain't no punks. They produce a big sound. Then you hear Benedict from across the way, and they have a very let me say this. South Carolina State has a loud sound. Benedict has a big sound, if you understand the difference. So, their parts are expanded more. You can hear more of the middle voices. Their arrangements sound like they have more depth from across the way. But then every so often, you hear little mistakes of people holding phrases over, or things that you hear when you listen to a whole band sound. And then I heard a recording from up under Benedict and listening to South Carolina State from a distance, and same thing. You hear Benedict with this big, powerful sound, and you hear South Carolina State sounding over there sounding like a little mousetrap. So, so you gotta meet halfway, man. So the bands will get a fair representation of what happened. And then a lot of people went live that were South Carolina State alum, and then they just showed South Carolina State's halftime performance. So I have yet to see Benedict's show from the Battle of the Bands. So I'm still waiting on their media team. They have a great media team as well to do something. And I'm waiting on my usuals, 8 to 5, TJ, whoever was there to go ahead and upload their footage. But so far, man, I can't tell who got the W just yet. I don't feel good about, claiming this band over this band just yet. Because to me, it wasn't fair from what I've heard or seen from the clips so far.
That's a good point. I know that happens a lot of times. The year I got into it with a lot of the fan people on the fifth quarter, and they
Mm-hmm.
probably had a point. But I said that Bethune had a better show than them. I think this was maybe the first year of the Florida Classic they came back, but the camera angle was bad, and then it was like raining, so it was behind a whole bunch of people's like umbrellas.
Uh, oh
So
man.
I think it was Bruce Wayne or somebody like that. I can't remember. I think it was
Uh,
he was the first one, and he was like, "Man, you should say something, or you should wait to go to the games, or you should get a better." And so I took that as like he was like coming for me, or like your show sucks. I was like,
you took
"Nah,
it
man,
personally.
right." I don't even think I read everything he said. I was like, "Nah, man, don't be coming to me like that, dog." I was like, "This Riverside food, like," and it just
And that's a shame. And he's a nice guy, Joe. He's
right.
actually a really nice guy. You talking
So
about Victor
Right.
Gaines?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Batman.
So he came out, and then another guy, Diligent, who was like me and him have just fought all over the years. I don't know who he is, but it was
Yeah.
just all bad. It was a long strand after that. But yeah, you make a really really good point. Or I guess, or I mean, I guess maybe have a disclaimer with it. This is my personal
Yeah.
page or something.
Right. Right. Yeah. This put a disclaimer like, okay, this video does not reflect what actually occurred.
Right. Joe, don't be saying nothing about this. This ain't for you. Mind your business.
Right.
Something like
Right.
that.
Right.
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 a lot of band directors are feeling that way too. That's the conversation I had with a few band directors. That they don't like the footage that's kind of out there, and they're like, "No, you got to be there to kind of really see it." Which is
Yeah.
why I like to get on the ground and try to make some of the games hint, hint, some hint, hint, march a podcast sending us to some games because
That's
what you're
right.
seeing and audio kind of can distort, can change unless you have really, really good equipment. And we're not seeing a lot of media. The media team, their equipment is okay, but you
Yeah.
don't really see what's happening unless you're right there. It's a whole different feel when you're there, and so we do recognize that as well.
Word.
That's very true. And to even emphasize the importance of media teams, though, you got to create your own narrative. Nobody's going to show your band in the best light. So you got to have a media team in this day and age, and that goes to every band. You got to have a good media team with
Absolutely,
good good cameras. You need to be in 4K. You need to
absolutely.
be you need to have good editing. More than one camera. You need to have a drone. You need to have all these good things to compete online.
Right.
You're doing everything you can to compete on the field, but you got to compete online as well. You got to, and that editing and camera component and microphone, your just overall equipment is important.
That's what's up, y'all.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
and that way you got to control your own narrative. That's a big part of
That's
it because
right.
media teams are out there and they're going to put some stuff out there anyway. But you have to appreciate those media teams who are out there kind of controlling their narrative. Like Garrett, they do a pretty good job putting their stuff out there. And T had probably has one of the best
Yeah.
media teams, and even that just maintaining that I guess that creative control, which is really hard now because we have so many freelance media teams, and I appreciate them because they get that footage out there when we're trying to see it. But as a
That's right.
band director, I'm like, man, get these cameras out my band face because
Right.
that may not be what I want to be seen, or what I'm
Right.
saying, your equipment may not be good, so you have to realize that too.
And
That's right.
another thing I just thought about real quick, if you post something on your IG or on Facebook or something like that, make sure you at least give credit to the videographers. I saw the guy who is over JSU bands, and I can't pronounce his tag on Facebook. I'm sure I get his name from somebody, but he was talking about a lot of people now on IG are doing kind of like what we doing on the show, like we talking about HBCU bands, but then they're posting the video. Well, on their
Right.
IG, they making sure they either cover up the logo of the videographer
Yeah.
or just make
Yeah.
sure they put theirs on top of it, and
That's
that's whack.
garbage, man.
Yeah, that's whack.
Yeah.
That's not gonna fly. So
Yeah,
eventually,
man.
people gonna find you out. Like this craft, it ain't that many of us. So don't get
That's
hurt.
right.
Like don't get hurt trying to post stuff. Yeah, it's like real talk, cause like people get mad, and you gotta think too. They're buying their own equipment. Like Eddie and Gary, all them people, they're buying a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. So like that's money that they're investing in, and it's cool that we could just look at it for free and like it. So again, just put that out there. Just at least like a bibliography, or not a bibliography. Give credit to
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you're
Cite it.
posting. Right,
On the posts, tag their Facebook page or their YouTube page, tag it.
right,
You don't got to write a paragraph, just tag it.
right. Because that'll help with their
And
at least their promotion and getting their name out there more.
right.
But yeah, covering it up, man. Man, somebody gonna find y'all out, man. That's not gonna be good. Y'all gonna be on the uncut
Right.
page. You know what I'm saying? you know,
You
And
ain't you
listen,
ain't go there,
and,
did you? You ain't say uncut, did you?
I'm telling you, it's bad on there. Don't
You know
lie on there,
uncut. Uncut will call you out. Shout
brother.
out to Poteet. They gonna
okay.
call you out.
Shout out to Uncut. Shout
Yeah,
out to Uncut.
that's
And,
real.
and if you on Sprint or T-Mobile, don't go live. Don't go live. Because your videos be
Yeah, that's me
sucking.
right now. That's me right now. People, sorry. Sprint.
if you're
Sorry.
not on Verizon, if you not on Verizon,
Nah, Verizon, you need a credit check. I ain't fooling with them. We good. I'll stick with my Sprint. Sprint work with you. Y'all them bougie folks over there. I'm working with Sprint. Sprint work with you. They be like, when can you pay us? Okay. No, honey. I'm sticking with Sprint. So you go ahead with your bougie Ernest.
That was a good one, Rich. All right, y'all. I think that's cool. Shout out again to the chat room. Uh, and yeah, and other folks in there saying stuff about it. So yeah, give credit to folks where where they at. And then I got another text. I think as far as just backtracking the Grambling game, the boom came. I think you said it, Ernest. They did some different stuff. The boom came on with different sides of the field for the Tiger run on, and then at the end, instead of doing the traditional JSU Rock the House, they kind of ran into the letters. So you guys can
Yeah.
check out the halftime show. Just trying to get something innovative going. More people were bringing it up like internally because it's like, hey, because you know how bands are. You have your own internal
Hmm.
conversations. So a lot of
Yeah.
the guys were talking about if
Yeah.
we should be
Everybody want to keep everything the same
right,
traditionally. Yeah. Alumni.
right, exactly. So that was exactly
Right.
the conversation this morning. But
Mhm.
but shout out to the programs where we can have internal conversations. You know what I'm saying? It shows people still love the boom
Right.
and still love the
Right.
band. You know what I'm saying?
No leaks, no whistleblowers,
That's right.
no none of that.
That's right. That's right. So that's what's up, y'all. All right. Let's take a second commercial break, and then we'll come back and talk about, the prayers, sending up the prayers.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So go ahead and mute your microphones. We'll come back. Listen to the 90 Degree Show. Thanks for listening.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe Beard from the Marching Podcast. Is your school, club, or organization looking for high quality decorated apparel to outfit your students, staff, club, or team? Tired of the same old boring white t shirt? Are you in charge of the upcoming fundraiser or special event but don't really have time to troll the internet for ideas or compare products? SAY can help with design and product selection. We can even assist with ideas on conducting an effective fundraising program. SAY can help you save time and get your message heard. So call 1 800 975 3156. SAY Marketing and Promotions.
Give your brand a voice.
If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Southern California area, please contact Kevin Peete of Remax Patriots. He will meet and exceed all of your needs. You can contact Kevin at 951 858 5942. That's 951 858 5942. Or you can email Kevin at kpsaleshomes at sbcglobal.net. That's KP, his initials, Kevin Peete, KP Sales Homes, all one word, at sbcglobal.net. Thanks again.
You want the best barbecue around? Smokey O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokey O's know what's good for you. You want the best barbecue around? Smokey O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokey O's know what's good for you. Smokey O's. Come check us out.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, you can unmute your microphones. We're back. Thanks for listening. Okay, let me get back to the camera here. All right. And our last sponsor, I want to give a shout out to the great Bull City Music School and Store. That is the great Janetta Powell Smith. You guys can contact them at 919-423-5701 and enroll your child or enroll yourself at some music classes. She has a Durham location and Durham, North Carolina, and a Hillsborough, North Carolina location. So you guys go to bullcitymusicschool.com and get up on your music lessons. All right. So in this last segment, I want to talk to you guys about the stuff that's been going on at these schools. We actually had a little bit of a conversation about this, I think, a couple days ago, about our
Mm-hmm.
personal experiences and being part of
Right.
organizations where they probably made you do
Yeah.
some sit-ups, to get your shirt, and just yeah, right,
Not
Bridget,
me.
Brett, that's right, 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 not
Just a
Bridget,
few.
right.
Not
Just a
me.
few.
Right, I understand. So I wanted to kind of delve into it. So the first place, I wanted to say, well, I don't know what's PJ last name. What's PJ full name? I don't want to just say PJ.
It's a. Is it
Edward. His
Monson?
real name is Edward though.
PJ Edwards.
Yeah, no, his first name is Edward. So let's
Okay.
can we come back to let's come back to Stillman because Stillman is so dicey. That situation is so dicey. I mean, he got on the podcast talking, but his situation is so dicey. But I think we have a lot more clarity allegedly from Texas Southern. I think that situation probably have a little more clarity in
Yeah,
Virginia State.
that's
We can
alwaady in
always
the
come back
news.
to
I
Well,
actually
well,
was
well,
PJ.
hold
thinking.
on, hold on. Before we get on Texas Southern, let me say this. Well. Let's talk about hazing in general.
Oh boy, that's a whole nother hour.
Yeah,
Yeah. We're gonna try to keep it short and sweet, but I'm surprised. Like, I guess since all these allegations have been coming out about certain programs getting caught up this year, um, and there's been a lot of online discussion that I've been a part of, and I see that you guys have been a part of as well about hazing in general. And I'm shocked that a lot of people still don't understand what is and what is not hazing. Like there's a lot of people who just don't get it. Like I remember when that situation happened with Alabama State, and it was that girl with the foot hurt or whatever, and everybody was going on about um, oh, such and happened. Hashtag must be hazing, or such tagging. Hashtag I think I got hazed, or some crap they had going on. And I guess they were trying to be funny about it, but everything they was posting was hazing. So it's evident. It's evident that they didn't know what hazing was really. Like they didn't know the definition. And if they're standing in a court of law with a judge and a prosecutor, their personal attorney, they think they have an argument if they if they say something like, "Well, I told this freshman that they can't drink sodas." That's not hazing. You know, I'm trying to look out for their health. They don't understand what hazing is. So I think we need to discuss what is hazing and and kind of educate people a little bit on what's going on, man, because it's a whole generation, I think, post Robert Champion that think that hazing is basically if you get touched physically. Basically, if you take some wood, you're
Oh,
getting hazed.
oh yeah, whooping
You know,
ass. That's an easy
yeah,
question.
yeah,
Hey, that's whooping ass. That's hazing. Y'all know what we
right.
talking about. So of course,
There's a
right.
whole nother level to it. There's a whole lot that goes into hazing beyond that, and they don't understand that. They think that's like a part of being in the band, and to that argument, I would have to say that things have changed. Things will never be the same. Things will never be the way it was when we came through, when generations before us came through. We have got to find a different way to do this band thing, or it's going to be the death of us all. It's going to bring a lot of programs down. You got to find a different way, man. You can't keep, you know, having these little frivolous hazing incidents that you don't think is hazing, telling people they can't do this, can't do that, and and think your program is going to be protected. It's not.
Uh, I was just and shout out to the chat room. It was PJ Howard. He had Howard in there. The reason why I had brought him up, and I'll say this real quick, he was on the Rogers Brothers, so you guys can
Yeah.
check out that interview. I think it was maybe from 2 weeks ago or last week. But it was a good interview.
That was last Sunday.
Okay, last
Last
Sunday.
Sunday.
It was a good interview. He had some things that he said some things that kind of choked me up. I didn't know that much about his personal history or like where he's from and all that stuff. So it was definitely good discussion. So we probably can't get into too much because I'm seeing here some text as far as like what we can get into with Stillman. But you in my prayers, brother. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? PJ, and I hope it'll all work out for you. But yeah, you guys check out that interview. It was interesting. He kind of there were some little nuggets in there about Texas Southern too, and I didn't really understand everything. But I guess as far as
It
that
was
goes,
more than some nuggets. He put a whole story out there.
yeah. But see, I would, cause
That was
see, I
more.
wasn't
That was more
follow.
than that was more than the nuggets.
Yeah, cause see, I wouldn't know all the players. I was still kind of in the dark about it, some of the stuff. But I do know at Texas Southern they actually got a press release about it, and it's been on the
Right.
news, and it's been everything. So has he been fired or administrative leave? Gibson.
The article says he resigns. Allegedly,
Okay.
he's resigned. Over the whatever the allegations are. They say allegations with an S. So
Allegations.
right. So whatever the allegations are, and there's so many stories floating around. But there's some allegations that Let me just say this: having worked in the system for 21 years, when midway something like this happens, it's something major. It ain't nothing petty. So I don't know what story everybody wants to believe. However, when your administration, when you get that resign or be fired kind of whatever, and it's so abruptly done, then there's something big there. And so there's a lot of, unfortunately, some of the stories floating around are damaging to the program. And when some of the alleged stories, and if I could caution Texas Southern against anything is, first of all, it has to be bigger than the person. It has to be about the program. And any story that's floating around that's going to damage your program, in essence, that causes dissension, make kids want to quit, make folks, attack whoever's in leadership or whatever. That's not what you want to do. Even though you may feel some kind of way about what's happening there, you still have to protect the legacy of your program. And it's unfortunate that in
Absolutely.
today's age, what happens in house don't stay in house. Like before the story hit, I'm in Maryland and I got a story and he's been like what? Why am I getting that? And I'm already in Maryland. A lot of stuff should stay in house, and it doesn't stay in house. But if I can say anything to Texas Southern, I'm going to say protect the legacy of your program. Let the petty stuff go. Let the due process happen with Clarence Gibson and whoever's there, whoever's in leadership. If you want a band program, you might want to go ahead and listen to what they're doing and go ahead and finish your season out because we don't know. It's alleged to everybody right now. You can believe the story about him being set up, or you can believe the story about things happening in this person's life. I don't know. Either way, protect the legacy of your program. It's too much. It's too much. And what's happening now is going to be destructive to Texas Southern program. The Ocean Soul is going to be no more if they don't cut out what's happening right now.
So
I agree.
I don't. Well, I mean, I've heard some of the allegations, but I don't know where people are getting the information from. You know what I mean? Because like I guess people are posting it on social media or something like that. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen any news outlets say why he resigned or why he was under the pressure or anything like that. So I halfway want to ask y'all the stuff I heard, but then
Well,
that's
yeah,
what
the school, the school right now, they're just treating it as a personnel issue, so they're not releasing any information or any, you know, issues that's dealing with him personally, or that the school can be held liable to in some kind of, slander case or anything like that. So right now, anything that we say on this podcast is alleged. So, I can share what I heard, but it's all alleged.
So what did you hear, Ernest? Because I was gonna say what I heard. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure out exactly myself.
Well, I heard two stories. I heard the story that his assistant band director, caught wind of some illegal activity he might have been a part of at one point in his life, and he took that to the administration, and that's what got him fired. And I don't think that one was too accurate. The second thing I heard was it's a personal allegation involving a student that got him into some trouble, and that's what got it done. So both of those incidents are alleged. I don't know the man. I don't know Texas Southern, the university, as far as beyond what I see on social media. So take that as you may.
Shout out to Be Fresh in the chat room. He said the uncut page got everything. So yeah, if y'all want to check out the uncut page, I'm sure everything on there. Y'all can check that out. I think I looked at the article again, and it said something. Uh, well, at least the article, or at least the press, they at least said that he had a talk with the band. Like he addressed the band and he told them about something that he used to do or something that he did back in the day, like a testimonial, or like
Well,
a
well,
sharing. And
well, that all came
You
from
ain't gonna get fired. You're not gonna get fired over that.
well,
You ain't
no,
gonna get
that's
yeah.
what
fired
the
over
but
no testimonial.
that's what the press release said. That's what it was about. If
Mm.
you look at I think it was with Fox 11 or like Fox
But no,
whatever in that
that's
area.
what they were quoting a student who or
Absolutely.
someone who started a petition. So that article wasn't fact based. It was just an opinion of one person that
Okay.
that happens to be in print. Yeah.
Okay. But that was my next point, was that after that, the petition is out there, so that a lot of people are now signing to the petition in support of him. And then, of course, there's a lot of people are responding to that because it's like, oh, well, if you knew what he did, blah 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 blah. It's just like,
Right.
wow. Um,
And that's it's always a sensitive issue because personnel matters are personal, and you would not really know what the details are. You kind of jumping the gun on putting your name on a petition that you don't really know the details of why the person
Absolutely.
was selected in the first place. I would hold back from doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
it looks like it said in the chat room that that Gip, that's his nickname, of course. Gip was on Show Style Talk, actually talking about it. So you guys, if you guys check out the last, because I actually just missed this past week's episode with them, so it looks like we could, looks like there's some more information from there. What'd you say, Bridget?
Can I tell you, band listen, it's like y'all diplomatic. Let me tell you something. If you get in trouble, get the heck off social media. You're killing yourself. Like, stop trying to defend yourself. You're doing more damage than good. Get yourself a good attorney and get off of there. Like, when I tell you, did I just lose y'all? No, can y'all hear me?
No, I can hear you.
There we go. Okay. When I tell you people are doing more damage than good, I believe with my whole heart the Hamer situation wouldn't have been as bad as it was had he simply deactivated his page, dealt with his attorney, and dealt with it privately. This whole defending ourselves, with social media is like killing us because we want to defend ourselves and we want people to know outside of the story when it really doesn't matter because who cares except for you and your job. It's between you, your president's office, your human resources. Deal with them. But this whole thing, like the worst thing you can do is go to social media at this point. It's killing me. When I saw PJ on, I'm like, no, little brother, no, don't do it. Like, get off of there. Go handle your business. Like, it doesn't even matter what the gallery people think at this point. But we're actually doing more damage,
Right.
and you're giving them ammunition. You're giving them ammunition to prosecute because you're going to say something that's going to incriminate you. I can guarantee you. And so now
Yep.
we have a false trail of stories. Nobody knows what to believe. Your band kids are listening to it. They're going to believe something, and they're going to act because immaturity is going to make them act on it. So allegedly, the assistant band director's tires got slashed. That's allegedly, but kind of has been proven. proven. Like, come on, y'all, stop it. But that whole when I heard he was on Show Style Talk, I was like, nope, ain't watching it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Like, really go fight your personal battles in your closet. Like, go and not in the closet in that sense. I didn't mean it in that sense. I didn't mean it in that sense, guys. No, that's what I mean. I mean, I meant as do it privately. Like, it came out before I didn't mean it that way.
I
What I mean
know.
is,
It's all good. It's all good. We understand.
you know what I mean. Like, if I'm having a personal battle, I'm gonna
Gotcha.
go in my closet. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna go in my prayer closet.
The wood
I'm gonna
shed.
be.
You are going to
I'm
wood
gonna go in
shed.
my war. I'm gonna go in my exactly. I'm gonna share on the war room, and I'm gonna deal with it, not in a public matter. That's what I meant, and God knows that's what I meant. No, I didn't mean any. There was no pun intended in that, but I'm sorry it came out like that. But really, fight. The best way you can do this is fight your personal battles. Quietly. Go ahead and then come out on the other side of it. Because if not, you're gonna get dragged through the mud.
That's right.
I did not mean it like that. I'm sorry. I sure didn't mean it
It's
in
all
any
good.
other manner.
But I guess that is though a public relations move though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every time a lot of times people get in trouble, and it can be beyond banned or any else. If they have a leg with Stephen A. Smith, or they got a leg with Diane Sawyer, they'll come out and they'll do the interview. I can't remember
R.
what they
Kelly.
call it. Yeah, they do
They
the
do the R.
interview
Kelly.
where then the people could
Yeah.
then appeal to your side, like they get your side
Right.
of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what they were doing. So I mean, I want to check it out just to see, or just to
The
hear.
only risk to that though, the only risk to that is when you upset the people who really can hurt you. Like they
Yes.
may be holding them guns down right now,
Mm.
and you out there, you know, shooting shots, and they just might decide to shoot back. You don't know. So the best thing to do, man, is to keep it in the holster. That's what I would do.
And then the shot might miss.
you
Yeah.
know?
Well, yeah. I'm
Shot might miss,
interested.
and then you're in trouble.
I'm
Yeah.
interested to see. I'm interested to see. I guess what happens. I mean, I wish him luck. I saw some of the stuff on the page, and people were like, "Man, you shouldn't be talking about him like that. He's got a family, and there's all this stuff like that." And it's been going on for a while, because people were talking about Hamer all this summer, and people were posting like administrative letters from like administration with like the letterhead on it, all that stuff like that. I mean, it's crazy. But
Yeah, they put
So
food out there.
the the crazy part is I don't know the situation from last time, but this is not the first time Texas Southern has done a petition to keep his job. So I don't think it's going to work this time.
Right.
Like, I don't. If you remember, about 2 years ago, they were trying to hire. Everybody called him the FAMU director, Dr. Rowley. They were hiring him, and they didn't want Gift to go for whatever reason. And allegedly, Texas Southern has kind of been on um, Clarence Gibson's kind of trail anyway. And when you have a history of some things, whatever has happened, then you do have to tread and step carefully, and anything can get you out of that door. So you do have to be careful. But this is not the first time Texas Southern has been in the limelight for doing that petition. They did that. I'm pretty sure it was 2 years ago. They were doing the same thing, but it was at the end. That was at the end of the season. It wasn't abruptly in the middle of the season. I want folks to think about that. It wasn't abruptly in the middle of the season.
Hmm.
So, and I guess you guys can say anything about it if we missing something in the chat room. But I did want to ask also too about what's going on in Virginia State. I was still trying to get my feet wet as far as grasping the whole thing. But apparently, I
Yeah,
think HBCU Game Day had a report that their band is apparently suspended.
Hmm.
And they
yeah,
had a nice
yeah.
sized band too. I actually saw them a couple weeks ago. Did anybody know anything specific about what the alleged claims are?
According
Yeah.
to the article, is alleged hazing claims. And the band director, let me applaud the band director at Virginia State. He got the claims, and so apparently, from what I'm understanding, it's Title IX complaints and hazing. And Title IX is
Hmm.
nothing to play with, folks. If you don't know Title IX law, I think you should take the time to really get to know that. that law. But it's Title IX, and when the band director heard it, he shut the program down. And when I tell you the best way to save your job is you be proactive, and I ain't talking about, oh, I'm
That's
going to
right.
suspend a couple people in the flute section. Now shut that whole joint down. When I tell you I heard that, I was so proud. I was like, thank you. That's a director who has been mentored and who really understands the essence of, you know what, I'm taking a strong stance on this because I don't want my administration to have to do it. I'm going to do it. And he took control of the program. So they're under, their band director is actually leading the, the Virginia State Police, and everybody else is investigating, but the band director took the initiative, and that was in the article. When I heard that, I was like, good job. Like, that is so awesome. Like, take the leadership, take the initiative so that you protect your job and your staff. In that one move, he protected the program, he protected his staff, he did so much. So shout out to Virginia State's band director for it. That's a courageous move. That's the kind of courage every band director has to have. Like, you know what? We ain't doing the game. It don't matter because I have a bigger goal in mind. That's awesome.
Ernest, what's Title IX?
Title IX states that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. So if you are a school, a public school, you receive financial assistance. If you are a state supported college, university, you receive federal financial assistance. And that means that you cannot discriminate based on sex in any way for any of your, well, you can't discriminate from participation in any of your activities, marching band, uh, drum major, football, basketball, anything. If someone wants to be a part of it, you cannot deny them just simply based on their sex.
I've seen the case in a lot of different areas. ESPN had a 30 for 30 about, and excuse me, people, I get confused, and I'm not trying to be ignorant about. Well, I am ignorant about it, but I get confused. So it was a girl that wanted to be a dude, and so she was taking stuff to be a dude, right? Well, she wanted to wrestle, and uh, because he or I don't know if he or she now if I say so but she was born he was born a girl, so because he was born a girl, he then had to compete with all the other girls. So of
Mhm.
course, with taking the steroids and all that stuff, I guess it made him strong or whatever. And then, like, of course, he won. He was like undefeated. Um, so I guess I don't know if that's the same, but I don't know. You wrote an article about it. I think last year or 2 years
Mhm.
ago,
It is
Ernest.
the same.
And
Yeah.
I guess I struggle with that because I understand you. I guess someone who may identifies with something, but can you have a dude Jay said? Like, is that possible? I don't know.
You know what? And that's the question I asked in that article. Should we let them march? Should our college bands ready for male participating on dance teams? Um, and a few years ago, it would have been a question on our college bands ready for female drum majors. You know, because that's new now. That's something that wasn't always the case. And years before that, it was college bands ready for females in the band. You know,
Yeah.
because that was something new and something that was unheard of. So I see the shift happening. And in my article, I asked the question, are we ready for males to be on the dance teams? I asked, and it was a poll. I asked, are you, is this something that you're ready for now? Do you think we're ready for that now? Is it something that we would never be ready for? Is it something that we may be ready for in the future? And I asked my audience that, and got some interesting responses from some people in that article.
Bridget, what do you think? Cause me myself, I'm like I'm kind of like I have no idea. It's kind of like someone, it's like a girl said I want to play football, and I know that's happened before, but I wouldn't want no girl going
But
out
they are
there.
playing. They are playing.
But
Yeah, they
Hmm.
are, and they are playing. So here we go. So I'm gonna tread a little lightly on this one, and y'all know I don't usually tread lightly, but I, because of my role in my, no, because of the role in my district, and I am,
Oh, okay.
that's one thing. One thing I do is teach Title IX law, and so I have to tread carefully. So Title IX is affecting a lot of things here. So let's do a back history. If you are familiar with Kappa Kappa Psi and Tau Beta Sigma, you realize that both of them are co-ed organization, and it's because of the very same thing. So right now, people want to be able to join anything. The Boy Scouts of America got it. This girl's now in the Boy Scouts. So what band directors have to do now is take a look at Title IX law and how to move forward, what they want to do, and still accomplish the same goals without being discriminatory. So Virginia State has allegedly has a twirler guy, and so they're trying to incorporate him in the program. Or I think, if I'm correct, and someone can correct me, allegedly, he identifies as a female. And so they're having some issues about, we have to, that's something we have to look at now. So you're traveling, they need to use the restroom, they need to do locker rooms, whatever. Where do they go? And the law says right now is whatever you primarily, majority of your time as you live at whatever you identify as, that's where you go. But that means the majority of life, you can't be, female, mainly female today, and then you decide you want to go back to a male tomorrow. That's not the same thing. So we have to have a level of understanding. And when I tell you, when you see these old guys retiring and get out the game, Title IX law is the reason why a lot of them get out of the game. They're like, you know what, I'm gonna let the next
Yeah.
generation have to deal with this. But we have to take a look at the law. It's going to be an uncomfortable place. It's going to be an uncomfortable place, but so was gay marriages and everything else.
Hmm.
We have to figure out. They're going to want that more and more more and more guys are coming out for dance lines. Just like more and more coming
Hmm.
out. Every year I hear a story about somebody coming out for AKA or Delta or whatever. So
Yeah.
we have to figure out how to address the issue without. And that's true. We have to figure out
Hmm.
how to address the issue without being discriminatory, but also accomplish the goals that we need to have to maintain the same traditions we have in our program.
Amen.
What the answer to that is, I don't totally know, but we definitely have to look at that. We have to be progressive in that matter.
It's a discussion we have to have. Yep.
I'm trying to figure it out myself because for one, it's like, what you born as, and then what you identify as, and then I get that confused sometimes because like
Yeah.
we were born this way, and I guess 100 years ago when they were like, oh well, if you black you can't vote, that was easy, you know, but now I don't, I'm not sure. Okay, so if it's a male twirler, he identifies as a girl, but he don't want to, like, if he got to go to the bathroom, he want to go to the female bathroom.
Yeah, if you're identifying as a female, that means he doesn't see himself as a male no longer. He identifies as female. That means he's primarily living as a female. That also means that in general, they usually look that way also. I'm not sure about the Virginia State situation. I don't know what all is going on, so that's why I'm kind of not touching that. But I think there has to be a level of understanding. Let me tell you, these kids know how to file Title IX suits, but they don't always understand the law themselves. And so the kids don't really understand it either. They don't understand that you have to primarily live as you should be living as a female. Like, are you in a female dorm? Are you whatever? So that means the school probably should have taken some steps too to address it
Hmm.
prior to the band director even getting it. The school should have some understanding to be able to educate their staff on how to deal with that particular
Yeah.
situation. Believe it or not, in the district that I'm in, we're having that issue as young as elementary school. We're having the same challenges, and people were shocked 2 years ago when we went to training. There were kids that were transitioning, and that thing shocked me. In kindergarten, they were transitioning. Little boy decided he wanted to be a girl. The mother was all for it. Parents were going through it. It was crazy situation. And so everybody was
Hmm.
all flustered. But let me tell you, in today's society, we have to be prepared to intelligently deal with it. And still, ultimately, my thing is, I just want to teach the kid. Let me just teach the kid and go about my business, And but the band world is such a unique place. So we have to definitely
Hmm.
look at it.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, that's definitely interesting. I think that's the main thing is trying to have some type of empathy about it, or trying to have the discussion, or trying to have some type of understanding. Because I mean, I
Yeah.
myself, I
Absolutely.
don't. It was easier for me as far as homosexuality, because growing up back east, it's definitely a little bit more shame involved. But then
Hmm.
I come out here, and it's like nothing to me now. Like it's definitely. I wish I kind of grew up like how it is here, because everyone here is just kind of minds their own business, so to speak. It's not so
Hmm.
much of that judgment. But when you start talking about, I guess, as far as like science and then people taking hormones and stuff, that's like another world for me. You know what I mean? So when I heard a little bit about Virginia State, or just seeing that, or just kind of reading Ernest's article again, I'm
Hmm.
trying to find a common ground. But for me, man, I just don't have it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Hey, I understand that, man. The place that you're in is the place that most people are in. The vast majority of individuals don't really know how to deal with this, or to deal with this, I guess, situation that a lot of band directors will have in their lap before they retire. At least once
Absolutely.
you have to deal with a situation where there's the situation, someone who identifies as the opposite sex, and what do you do? Or you have someone a male who wants to be on your dance line, and what do you do? So, you know, I think we need to
I think.
educate ourselves. Yes.
Sorry. I think as a culture, HBCUs are the last one. Black people, we're the last ones to address a
Yeah.
lot of issues because
Yeah.
our culture is we accept stuff or we don't, and that's the end of it.
Right.
And so I think it's just now starting to shift to the HBCU world, whereas some of the PWIs have already started addressing those issues. They moved to color guards just to kind of
Yeah.
whatever. And so now we're at the point where we're just now starting at like, oh, what are we supposed to do? Just about like think about how we went through that whole thing about Trey Songz and the music thing. Well,
Yeah.
the white school's been doing that for a minute. PWI's been doing that for a minute. And then we finally get it just because our culture was like, no, that's what we do. This is what we do. And
Right.
dance lines is this what we do. Well, we got to look at what we do now. When you put out, so let's talk to the dance instructors. When you start putting out your requirements now, understand when you put out that list of requirements for your dancers, you need to be your measurements need to be this is your size, it's female, da 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 da. That's in essence, they can look at that as a discriminatory statement. And I'm
Yep.
surprised we're not seeing more students, especially like the weight and the size thing. I've seen like actual measurements. I am not going to call the school where you can look at the website, and to be a part of the dance line, you have to be this measurement and this is that and the other. And let me
Wow.
tell you, we're going to
Wow.
see more and more suits. Come on now. We know that's the case. Some people did the brown bag test for years.
Yeah.
I can call the school like you had to be a certain complexion for years. I'm gonna tell you now. Tell myself if I wanted to be petty, I could put a suit on Grambling because they didn't want me in there too, especially because I was a female when I applied.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
that was back in the day when I come. That could be a Title IX law. That could be living
Yeah.
large. No real talk. But but that really is that is a discriminatory practice. But and that's a true story, Joe. You have your story about Hampton. Well, my story was I wanted to go to Grambling. I just knew I was going to Grambling. I was like, man, Grambling was my top school. Alabama State was my second. Morgan was my third. Actually, I think it was Grambling, Morgan, then Alabama State. And so that year, 1994, never forget, I'm telling my age, Morgan and Grambling played here in Maryland. Band director came. Of course, when you come to a new city, you're going to do recruitment or whatever, whatever. I'm all excited about to do my audition. And I went to an all-female high school, played tuba. And let me tell you, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm not a bad tuba player. I was an outstanding tuba player. I'm getting ready to audition. He's like, pretty little young thing like you. You sure you want to play tuba? What's your other instrument? You don't want to play clarinet? You know how big
Wow.
that tuba is.
Wow.
Isn't it
Really?
too big? Isn't it too big and heavy? Well, we use the metal tubas. We use cane tubas.
Wow.
And they were like 50 pounds. Can you hand that? And he was kind of like, how you do that coddling thing, kind of paddle your. And I was just sitting
Yeah.
there like, I said, no, I'm a
Man.
tuba player. This is before you even heard me play. And so the funny part was Grambling was, doing their 3-ring circus thing, and Morgan was a little bad, but when they came out with so much heart and excitement, and my experience with Mr. Miles was totally different. You played tuba. He was all excited. He was astounded. And that was my attracting factor. I was like, no, I'm going to Morgan. That was the difference between the two. But it was that mindset. You talked about female drum majors and all things. It was that mindset, like, no, that's that whole girls play flute, they play clarinet, they don't
Right.
play
Right.
tuba. They're not in the percussion. They're not in the percussion section. And so that's the essence of when we talk about Title IX law. That's a big part. Those kind of things, those mindsets.
Yes.
I'm so glad to see progressive change in 2019. Like really, But those are things that happen that have caused Title IX to be a big issue.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a trip. I hate that you had that experience, but all you have to do is say it's Grambling,
Now I'm good. I
and
went
all
to
you
the
gotta
best
do is
school.
that'll make
I
it
went to the
better.
best school.
Well, it's
Hey,
Grambling.
I went to the
It's
best
Grambling.
school. I
I mean,
wouldn't
Hazing.
trade it for nothing else. I wouldn't trade my Morgan State experience. And shout out to Morgan State because this is homecoming week. Turn up M3. So I'm excited. But I'm so glad God had me go to where I needed to be. Like I'm the person, the director I am today because of the great Melvin Miles Jr. and that Morgan State band program. So God had me in the right place
Well,
for
that's what's
sure.
up. Well, that's what's up, y'all. Um. So yeah, we getting to the end of it because I see Bridget, not her video. Your audio is okay. The video, okay, yes, it's looking a little better now. But yeah, we've been on and trying to think. Is there anything else we had wanted to cover? I know we talked about Jackson State Grambling. We talked about Title IX. Anything else
I
that we
think we
wanted to
covered a
talk
lot
about?
today, man. We went the gambit today.
Yeah, man. That's what I was just thinking about as far as the things that we talked about. But yeah, y'all didn't hear my Grambling joke, man. I was saying this Grambling, like I mean, I'm sure that had a psychological
Yeah,
effect
we
on you.
heard it.
But okay, yeah, oh, she
We
heard.
we
Okay, yeah, there we
definitely
go.
heard the joke.
I know. I was hoping I was gonna get more laughs. But yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, I done put that up a couple times. I done
Womp
played it
womp.
like 3 or 4 times. You know what I'm saying? Oh, all right, hold on. That's too
Yeah.
loud. Hold on. All right, let me turn that down. Let me. All right. All right. I think that's good. All right. So we're here at the end, ready to close out the podcast. I want to say shout out to everyone this month. I don't know no birthdays yet, but I'm definitely gonna be finding out some birthdays, giving out birthday shout outs. So again, this was prayers. So shout out to Garrett, praying for you, man. And real talk,
Praying for you, Garrett.
praying for Clarence Gibson. I'm praying for Brother Hamer. I'm praying for everybody in the mess.
Yeah.
And praying for
PJ
PJ
Howard.
too. PJ Howard. Because I have definitely changed doing this show and like getting to know people. And I don't want that intensity on nobody because we old
Right.
and man, I'm telling you, these paychecks is important. I mean,
That's
I
right,
don't know
bro.
about y'all, man, but my
I'm
kids
trying
be
to tell
hungry.
you.
My kids
Yeah.
eat a lot, so
We got more things. Yeah, we got
man.
bills. We got real people bills now.
So I ain't gonna lie, even
Real people, grown folk bills.
So I just hope that everybody will be okay. I hope folks land on their feet. Shout out to you, PJ. I hope you land on your feet, and hope Brother Gibson lands on his feet as well. But yes, I guess keep striving. But everyone else, just keep your nose clean. You students,
Please,
I guess Bridget
please.
said it. Be careful about your actions, because you might find out 10 years from now, like, oh, he did that. I didn't know that. I was in the street, butt naked, running around there for the, what I'm saying, trying to get some awareness, and then I'm now looking like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? So have some discretion. I guess that's the main thing, some discretion. But we are all praying for y'all, and y'all can definitely get some support from us. We ain't TMZ here on the Marching Podcast. We out here trying to show love and spread all our programs for the craft. All right. So shout out to you guys. Ernest, man, what you got before we close out the podcast?
Sinfonia. Shout out to Phi Mu Alpha, baby. Founders Day.
Well, that's what's up, man. Phi Mu Alpha. You did that at South Carolina State?
Yeah, bro. I stayed. I stayed in the cut. Oh, wait a minute. Ooh.
See, that's our problem now. That's our problem now. We've been through like 3 or 4 organizations and something like that. That's our problem. So
Nah,
yeah.
man. I did Phi Mu Alpha, South Carolina State, New Iota chapter. What's up, bro?
That's what's up. So did you do that first, or did you do that after cap or before cap?
I did that. Well, I did. Well, let me see. What's legal to talk about here?
Okay. All right. Never mind.
Hold on.
My bad.
I did Kappa Kappa Psi. I did Phi Mu Alpha,
Of
and then
course.
I did Kappa.
Oh, you Kappa Psi too, Ernest? Oh, I think I do that. I
That's
did
right.
know that. I did know that. Man,
He's Kappa Kappa Psi first. He's Kappa Kappa Psi
Yeah,
first. That's
Kappa
my
Kappa Psi.
LB.
so
That's right.
My 6'2". What? My
That's
number.
so
that's right.
oh, you a number 6, Ernest? I'm the number 6.
Yep.
Oh, shout out to the number 6s all over the world.
All three of us is rolling.
Yep.
I'm the number
All
6.
three of us, man.
And
All three of us.
my daughter's number 6 on her soccer team. So, cause 6, we
Let's
always up in the
go.
mix. There you go.
Oh my God.
All right, y'all. So that's what's up, though, Ernest, man. But shout out to Ernest undergrad. You 3 years in a row, boy. Hey,
3
you
years in a
hard.
row.
Hey, bro, you hard.
4 years, if you want to count Thunder
Your
Brothers.
section. Thunder Brothers, yeah.
Wow, that's right. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Boy, you hard, Ernest. You hard. Yeah.
Stayed
man.
in it.
Hey
Stayed in
man,
it.
we gonna put you over the whole council over the whole thing, man. You know what I'm saying? we gonna put you over the whole thing. But shout out to you, Ernest, man. Thanks again. And Bridget, anything you would like to say? And praying for you and your situation. But anything you got to say before we close the show?
Thank you. Yep. Yeah, y'all know my situation. I'm the daughter of a bishop, so sometimes we have some things going on, family, whatever. We just got to get up and move with it. So I'm moving with the family as we take it. So keep the family in prayers happening. So we're on the road. That's why I'm in and out, headed to New York. Shout out to Bishop, the strongest man I know. That's my pops. So shout out to him for being amazing person and being patient with me. I'm in the car with them, making them be quiet. So shout out to them. Now, my big shout out has to go to the great Morgan State University, who will be appearing in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade this year, by the way. But shout out, this is homecoming week. So let me roll it off. M3, Magnificent Marching Machine, Happy Homecoming. My tuba section, the low riders, come on through. Mama Tuba gonna be in the house. Yes, that's me. So shout out to low riders. To my first love. Yes, I'm gonna say my first love. Tau Beta Sigma National Honorary Band Sorority Incorporated, especially to the line of Fall 97, my LSs. I look so forward to seeing you at homecoming. 97, let's get it, 97. So shout out to them. Shout out to my sorors at Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I pledge grad chapter, but my love goes deep for Deltas as well. Shout out to you, both of you. I enjoy my Sundays with you guys on here. So I appreciate, you guys even being patient with me with my in and out today. Hopefully we're back on our regular mode next week. But those are my shout out. Shout out, like you said, to the band directors. Garrett, we're praying for you, my brother. I know what it's like. Breast cancer sucks. This is Cancer Awareness Month. So shout out to those who are in the battle. You got somebody pulling for you. We're praying for you. But Garrett, we're praying for you. I can't even imagine, but our prayers and thoughts are with you. Shout out to all the media teams who are helping us to be able to do what we do, because we're able to see your footage. So shout out to that. And last but not least, to two of the finest programs out here, besides my Morgan State University, Clarity. But Norfolk, I didn't get to talk about that a little bit, but Norfolk and North Carolina A&T, wow, class act. I love the directors. I love the staff, that they're doing some great work. And I can give honor where honor is due. And when I tell you they are impressive, they are impressive. So those are my shout outs. Also, let me put that a little plug. This week is free. If you're planning to go to college, you want to attend Morgan State University, you can apply for free this week. So this is free. Apply to Morgan State University. Go to morgan.edu for more information, or hit me up on my inbox and I'll give you that information. So anybody that want to go to Morgan State, be a part of that M3, then that's out there for you.
That's what's up. That's what's up, y'all. Okay, it's my mic. Y'all can hear me, right? Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
My mic sounds nice. Check one.
Well, thanks again for y'all. I appreciate y'all again. If you would like to become a sponsor or a patron to the Marching Podcast, please contact the show and we'll give you the criteria so we can start to pub your business using our platform. Go back to the main camera. See, look down there. You see the stuff going down there at the bottom. That can be your stuff, your information. Just hit us up and we'll continue to pub it. But again, prayers, y'all. Prayers to everybody. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Definitely see y'all next week. But you guys have a good week and love each other. Again, thanks again. What was this? Oh yeah, the lessons you deliver may be very fine and true, but I'd rather get my lesson in observing what you do. See you next time.
See y'all later.
And that's it for the 90 Degree Show for this week. Tune in next week with Joe Beard, where the marching band battles continue.